Good evening and welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips here on YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
YikesRadio.com.
Thank you, Rashid. Those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. Mr. Kevin Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at Yikes Radio and Accelerated Radio. And I just love to take the time out to just wish him honor and respect because absolutely, Rashid. Were it not for Kevin and his brainchild and his dreams, it would be impossible for me to do what I so love to do here on YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. And as we continue on this embarkment, everybody, I just want to go ahead and give a very special shout out to some sponsorships, beginning with Miss Lori Ray Fisher, aka Lori G, as well as the benefactor here on the show. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great, Sissy. Thank you so much. I always like to give a very special shout out to her. She is with Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company. Ladies and gentlemen, and I always want to go give a very special shout out to some of our new sponsorships of the show, and that is G Babies Catering LLC, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to check him out. Chef Mac. He has a great following on Instagram. So I know it's COVID going on, but he's still got some great ideas in terms of planning for just in-home meals and things that you still may want to have shipped to you. You know, you got Uber Eats, so you got G Baby's Treats. So check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that. And then I want to go on ahead and give very special shout out to WMPJ Steelworks, ladies and gentlemen. I like to always give a very special shout out to the Man of Steel who helps us out here on the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips. And then one of his most recent projects, I'd like to give a very special shout out and reminder to check out APS Muscle Cars, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that's APS Muscle Cars. That's over in Signal Hill, California. Some new projects that he has happening there, guys. So you want to check out Memo. That's MEMO with APSmusclecars.com. I know that's a mouthful. So thank you so much for joining us here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the Poetry of Justice show. How are we all doing tonight, panelists and everybody?
We are, at least I'm doing great.
Doing,
I am so
doing
excited.
well, doing good. How about you?
We have a humongous show tonight ready for everybody. We're going to be talking about racism, erasing racism. We're going to be talking about white privilege. We're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. And so just a breadth and wealth of information. We have so much, Lord, going on tonight. I don't know, Lord. I think I'm just going to, just because I'm that person, I want you to bless us tonight and welcome all of our very talented guests because we've got some amazing people in it. I don't want to mess up anything with Mary because I was, getting ready for the show. So I want you to do that so we can have a very proper introduction. So thank you.
Well, we do. We have a wonderful show planned for today. As you say, we have two movie stars in our presence here. They have made a wonderful video, which we are going to show and share. And I'm going to introduce those two individuals to you a little later because they are the focus for the next 65, 75 minutes here. But I'd like to start with one of our avid listeners and friends of the show, who's always here with us, Miss Chris Fisher. We thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you. How are you this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks for always being there. And then you guys know that we got our girl, Shelly C. Shelly C is rolling with us all the time. She's a part of the POJ family. and one of the ladies of the chat. So thanks for being here, Shelly C. Going to be a great conversation tonight, don't you think?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And we are also honored and blessed to have the presence of my niece, who I'm so proud of, and fellow Trojan and goddaughter. Look, so many titles there. And this is Jackie's baby girl, Miss Miko Phillips.
Hello,
She's
everyone.
joining us tonight. And Miko is a scholar when it comes to history, and particularly African American history. So we're here to have Miko share with us and keep us on path. And then we have Mr. Rashid. Let's not forget our engineer. Give it up to the engineer, right? He makes it all happen, makes everything happen for us here. Thank you, Rashid. And so now we have these two lovely ladies who are incredible and are forces of nature here that are with us. We have Miss Linda Kaye tonight. Hello, Linda. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, and we also have Miss Mary Chung with us. Hello, Mary. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Now, Mary is coming to us all the way from China. Is that correct, Mary?
Yes, I'm in Shanghai right now.
Oh, my goodness. What
And
time is it in Shanghai?
What time is it right now? It is 10:06 a.m. right now.
Oh,
But
wow.
the next day.
Sunday.
The next day. I'm forward.
Sunday.
Yes.
All right, guys. We are broadcasting all the way in China. Go POJ show, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to send a big welcome to everyone in our Zoom room. We have ASL interpreter Mona Jean here that says, hi, Linda and Mary. Ed says hello to everyone. Joe Weiss says, hi, everybody. Hi, Linda. Joe's glad to be here. We have Mr. Stevie Johnson with us, who's always hanging out with us, as well as Jackie Fisher, who's hanging out with us. We've just got a live Zoom room going on, ready to take on this wonderful topic. So I think I'd like to start to kick it off with Linda. In our pre-show interview, you talked about a couple of things that motivate you, a couple of things that are important to you. And one of those things are women and the empowerment of women. And so I would just like to kick the show off with, we're approaching March, where we have our Women Awareness Month, right? The celebration of empowerment of women. Talk to us a little bit about that. Women and empowerment.
Well, you know what? This world wouldn't exist without women, number one. Women are the heart, the breath, and the womb of this world. And the fact that women have been kept down for so many millions of years, I don't know, as long as we've been alive, we've been kept down and abused and strangled for the way that we think and we feel and be. That, do women create wars? Do women start wars? Absolutely not. Women are now starting to become more empowered than I've ever seen it. And the fact that we have a female VP,
yes,
right on, right on. Things are a changing, women. We need to just take hold and stronghold, and we already are here. And I think that people in power now is really important. As much as I hate politics, that politics absolutely disgusts me beyond belief. I mean, if you're following anything that's happening in the news, and I'm sure everybody here is, it's like, it's sick. We have a fascist regime. And this has got to change. This has got to change, and I think it will. I'm hoping it will. I don't know. I'm trying to just live in the moment like I always do, because if I don't stay in the here and now, I'm gonna go crazy.
Well, I'm really interested, and I want to hear every lady's opinion about empowerment. But I'm really interested, Mary, how are the concepts of women and empowerment discussed, embraced, or considered in Shanghai?
Oh, wow. Here's the funny thing. I'm in this hotel room here, and because we're in China where everything is monitored, I really have to watch what I say because we've been warned that everything is recorded and monitored. So I do have a lot of opinions, but I'm not sure if I can share some of them. I think, seriously, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I feel like it's trying to figure out how I can safely say things. I feel as if it's still kind of backwards here, where we're still viewed as the inferior of the species. And it's really sad. You, you know, you feel like there's been all these years of oppression already as a woman, of what we're not allowed to do, as how we're viewed, and it's still happening, which is why when Linda came to me with this project, I was like, yeah, I want to do it because racism is in all forms. And it's just, I want to use our art to say something, to do something, to like shake people up and say, hey, it's still happening, like we feel because we're in America that everything's pretty chill and it's good. We've gone through all the hard times, but it's still happening and it's happening in other countries and other places. And we're just feeling so privileged and used to like having that freedom that it's easy to forget that it's still around. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if that answers your
we don't want you to
question.
get in trouble, Mary. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's funny because, I still act like I'm in my own room. And some days I'm running around. Like the other day, I cut my hair and I stripped off all my clothes to do it because I didn't want to get hair on me anywhere. And I was like, wait a minute, someone's probably watching me naked, running around my room, cutting my hair. Oh my God, it's going to hit the market somewhere. I don't know. It's going to show like a bad video or movie or something. But oh well, that's
Right.
what it is. And then that kind of sums up everything. But
Absolutely.
just a lot of great things. It's I think what it comes down to always is people with power not wanting to lose the power that they have. So in order to do that, one of the means or ways of keeping that power is by oppressing those who don't have it and keeping them down. So, and it's horrible, but that's the formula.
That's very true. I'd like to welcome Stephen to the show. Hey, hey.
Hey,
Stephen's
good
all the way
evening,
from Tulsa.
Stephen.
How you feeling tonight, brother?
I'm doing all right. You?
I'm doing good. Great to see you.
Good to
We're
see you as
talking
well.
right now about the concept of women and empowerment. And Mary has joined us from all the way from China. So we were getting some insight into the concept of women and empowerment there. I'm also interested generationally to talk to Miko maybe about the concept of Linda's passion and infuriation about how women have not been respected, because as Linda, as you say, they're the creation of life, right? And that pisses us off. How does your generation, the millennials, feel about the concept of women and empowerment? And I know you can't speak for everyone, but how does that land on you as a younger person?
Specifically, like being on the border of both millennials and Gen Z, because I was born in '96, so I'm like in the middle of both. I think it's a very interesting place to be as a woman, and specifically as a Black woman, because there's so much more opportunity to do things. I think we are at the beginning and at the burgeoning of a new world, hopefully. But I think as we continue to kind of break down barriers and like, break the glass ceiling, I think we will see more progress. I won't say that everything is 100% equal, because it's not, but I'll say I feel like millennials have and Gen Zers have been able to kind of make more noise. And the reason that is because of social media. We're able to campaign and get more information out prior because of, other generations weren't able to do that. I think activists are able to get out what they can based off of the technology given to them at the time. And because we are able, to get our voices out a lot more information is given out. Like right now, I'm thinking about Britney Spears. I don't know if you guys have been understanding what's been going
I've been
on.
watching that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of an example I can give here where it's like we see it on social media, we get upset about it, we can make we go out and protest, we can do these certain things to make changes, right? So just this week, because people were upset about the status of her conservatorship case, people got on the internet, got upset about it, all these different things. We're able to drag certain figures, like Justin Timberlake got in trouble this week, had to apologize. Diane Sawyer, we're trying to get her to apologize, different things like that. So we can try to make noise and put people in the hot seat and get them to start understanding what we want and what we need to have. So essentially, just to wrap up my point of view is that social media has allowed.
I have to step away for a few seconds because we're doing our temperature check twice a day. So that's the knocking. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mary, no problem. Thank you.
All right. Well,
that's basically the point. Social media has allowed women empowerment to grow upon what our foremothers have set forth for us.
Thank goodness, Miko. Thank you so much. I mean, we really need the youth of America and the world to step up and say what they need to say. I don't know if they can in China. They probably can't, the youth, get on social media and try to make things change. They go to jail in those countries.
That's banned here, Facebook
you,
and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Miko, for being there. The young people. Yeah. Young people, get out there and make a difference.
absolutely.
Rashid has some commentary, Lori. Rashid.
Okay.
Speaking of young people.
Okay, so we all know that social media, in the terms of women empowerment, it can be a double-edged sword because you have the good parts of social media and then you have the bad parts of social media. The bad parts of social media is those that are able to actually spread the misinformation and the lies that actually end up hurting the actual women empowerment movement because this certain person has spread lies and misinformation that it sets us backwards instead of going forward. So it goes both ways as far as social media. Absolutely. It could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing at times.
Absolutely.
Stephen, I would like to hear you weigh in on that. What is your thought?
I think the empowerment of women is very important. I think women just kind of make men feel comfortable in being who they are. I know personally just the comfortability that I have with my mom, and I just really feel like we need women. We need women's opinion. We need women's leadership. And as long as women don't basically put their standards at a lower level and continue to push each other to be better, I think that's a beautiful thing. I hate shows like Love and Hip Hop. It puts black women especially in a bad light. And I think people like Kamala Harris, they're going to be able to provide an example. Michelle Obama, they're going to be able to provide a good example for black women to keep striving to be better, because those shows that they just play women on TV, it puts a bad light on them. So I think as long as women use social media, like Miko mentioned, in a proper manner, women will continue to grow and empower. And then one day we will have not a black, but yeah, black, whatever, president to lead this country,
Yeah.
Right. That's true. Great. Shelley, you and Chris want to weigh in?
I just want to say that it's about time. It's about time that women are in the forefront. We have so many women that are running different parts of the world, different countries, and just with COVID positive, the ones that are running those countries have the lowest rate. People are doing really well, So I think that women have been held down for too long, and I'm so glad that Kamala Harris is in a role that would pretty much show the world that a woman can be ahead in the U.S. A woman can run the U.S. actually, because Joe Biden doesn't do anything without her.
I bet.
He can't do nothing without her, even though he has his wife on his wife, the first lady. Still can't do nothing
I
without
think it's
Kamala.
going to be Kamala all the way. I think
Yes.
Kamala all the way.
Absolutely.
But you know, I was also just kind of thinking about how they always say behind every good man is a strong woman, and I think that's what I was trying to get to about with my mom. You know, I'm not married, I'm single, but that woman in my life is my mom. You know, I seek advice from her, to be honest, more than my dad. You know, and then I've heard like comedians kind of joke around about how Obama and LeBron, their fathers wasn't in their life, but their mothers were, and they make the joke, who needs a father? Now, fathers are important, but the point is there is some strong black men of, well, really of any race, but I'm gonna just speak on those guys, strong black men who are taking the lead in their respective field, and they was brought up by women. So, you know, I just think that's how we should look at it. We should look at these women, get opinion from them. We shouldn't look down on them. And I know years and years ago, that's how it was. Women was just good for taking care of the house and raising the babies. But now it's a different world, you know.
Well, that's not their fault they did that. They were forced.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree. I'm sorry, man.
FYI.
I agree, man.
I don't think, you know, Freud's theory is based on Jewish women that he saw in therapy. His whole theoretical perspective was based on these women who were sexually repressed, right? You heard the word repression, right? Sexual repression, and the word repression, that's a Freudian term, right? So these women were so held back, you know, from the world. They had to wear clothes up to their throats. They couldn't even show their ankle. If they showed their ankle, they would get in trouble. So this was, you know, the early 1900s, you know. And so
your ankles?
Yeah, you couldn't even show your ankles.
That's terrible.
So
yeah, that's still Middle Eastern customs as well.
Like,
right.
yeah.
Well, where are they at? You know, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But women have been held back for so long, and theories have been developed based on, you know, theorists doing research, right? And research continually changes. And so, you know, here we are now. We're finally here. How many years later?
I don't know your feedback. Could you mute if you're not speaking, guys?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as far as I think about women in empowerment, I can't speak for no other race, but as far as Black women are concerned, there is a lot of work. We have come, you know, we have come a long way, but you know, there still is a lot of work to be done. I look at, we're like this much come so far. You know, we haven't come like this far, but we've come like this far. Because even in my reading on women back in the 19th, 18th, the suppression and the stuff that was done to us is stuff that I had no clue about. I never was no historian. I never read about that. I hated school. I didn't know why I wanted to go to school even now, until I had like a revelation from the Holy Spirit to tell me, you know, well, you're not really going to school for because you have everything already in you. You already know everything, but you're going to school to learn about them because they know everything about you. So it changed my whole perception of, you know, empowerment. And it's not empowerment to be over someone, but to empower myself to be able to learn about myself, which, you know, you don't really know who you are until somebody actually tell you, hey, I mean, I know I'm of God. I am a God. I know that most all Black people are. But it's just when you don't know that because of the oppression, because of what they know about us, they want to keep you asleep. So to come out of that is still a long, right now, we still still a lot of work needs to be done.
Speaking on like this new generation of Black women, at least, I feel as though information is something that me personally, I've just always been interested in Black history. That's something I've always taken seriously and always wanted to know, specifically Black women in history. We are like, I feel like we start almost every social revolution that's happened in America. We have been the backbone of that. We have been the people who start those specific things. Like Harriet Tubman, for an example. You know what I'm saying? Like the Combahee River Collective, where she's essentially leading people to freedom. She's fighting in the Civil War herself, things like that. Yes, those things weren't taught in school, but they weren't taught in school for a reason. And because they weren't taught in school, I felt the need, wow, this doesn't seem right. Why is my history not being told? I'm gonna go figure it out and find it. To a point where I dedicated my whole college career to figuring out what things about myself to take then to give to more people. And kind of to harken back on the conversation of social media and how it can be dangerous to get out certain ideas. Of course, like that's just kind of a given about any sort of technology. There's a proper use and a misuse. But I think when you are properly, I guess, trained to analyze things and know how to look up what's correct and what's not, then you won't be swayed. And I think that's our biggest issue as a society. We do see things on social media, clickbait, and then we just, oh, it's true. It's not. We have all hopefully been trained to, I need to figure out the truth about this. We should all be analytical and critical in what we see.
I agree.
Any platform. So I think to just to say like, oh, some women are furthering the movement than others, right? It comes down to what do you know? What are you getting out there to do? What are you learning? What are you sharing out into the world, right? We can critique about the misfortunes of a society all day, but in order to progress it, we have to kind of diagnose the problem, right? And then figure out how we are going to treat that issue. And it makes me think about the idea of what Malcolm X said. You can stab the knife is in my back 9 inches. If you pull it out a couple inches, that's not progress. Take the whole knife out and you need to treat me and heal the wound completely. That is what I call progress. And I see that across racial and gender lines, because in America, the Black woman is the most disrespected, the most unappreciated being in this country.
That's right. That's right.
Well, guys, I think this becomes a real logical transition for us, right? To begin to view this wonderful piece called Erace-ism, right? So I think we're going to have a chance to view that as a body together. And then I'd like to have some discussion about it. There's so many nuances in this piece, so many dichotomies that we see. I think it's going to generate a great deal of conversation. So Rashid, can you gear up that video for us?
I need to be able to share screen.
I just made you be able to share.
All right,
One step ahead of you.
All right, there we go. Let me see in the share computer sound.
Awesome stuff.
There we go. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Sexy moments. La la.
Take a stand. Gotta take a stand. Lend a helping hand. Lend a helping hand. Identify, take pride, don't hide. Identify, take pride, don't hide.
I'm a female, white, privileged Jewish American. right is racist might? What right have they got? What right have they got to perpetuate history's white right? It's in their power to make a change. It's in their power to stake a claim into your future. Erace-ism. Erace-ism. There's no place-ism for your hate-ism, for all your claim God made-ism. Just erace-ism. Erace-ism. Erace-ism.
I ain't no privileged white chick. I ain't no country hick. Same color as you and me. I'm red. I'm white. I'm a patriarch blue, you see. Time and time again, it's the same. Just looking for someone else to blame. Brothers and sisters forced into camps, sitting in the back of buses, man. Hey, that ain't kosher. I ain't no poacher. This land's for you and me. Don't hate, relate, just let us be. You know we gotta take a stand. Gotta take a stand. We did your shit work when you didn't want to do it, man. So quit killing us. Killing our souls and killing our dreams. Cause different don't mean wrong. Together we are strong. So let's stand together and erace-ism. Erace-ism. There ain't no placism. For your hateism. For your claim God made-ism. Just erace-ism. Erace-ism. Erace-ism.
I do my best to hate the right. Roll up my sleeves and join the fight. What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? Tell me. Tell me. I'm a female, white, privileged, Jewish American.
Gotta take a stand.
Female, white,
Lend a helping
privileged,
hand.
Jewish American.
Lend a helping hand.
What right is racist might? What right has it got? What right has it got to perpetuate history's white right? It's in their power to make a change. It's in their power to stake a claim
into your future.
Into your future. Not my fault.
Not my fault.
Got it? Good. All right, back to position.
All right.
Wonderful work.
There we go. Erace-ism. So Linda, talk to me about the motivation. What inspired this?
Well, what inspired this, it started last year, I think around July, or when Black Lives Matter was really like hot in the forefront, and there was protests everywhere, and people were shouting out about racism, that we just had it, just sick and tired of being treated poorly. And, you know, racism has always been here. It's everywhere in this world. You know, people are judged by the color of their skin, period. People are treated, bad or good, by the color of their skin. And, you know, and that administration, that horrible administration that we had, just opened the floodgates to allow and enable people to behave so disgustingly horrible. And I was pissed. And I wanted to do something. I wanted, like, you know, to put that energy somewhere, and I thought, well, what could I do? What could I do? And I'm gonna make a music video. I'm gonna make a rap music video. And I says, well, what's my character? Well, it's me. I'm a white female privileged Jewish American. That's who I am. That's I was born into this person, right? And I'm a good person. And I treat people well, and I've always been respectful of everybody, until they do something to me and then lose respect. And so, and I thought, I wonder if Mary would want to do this with me. This would be really fun. Mary's energy is phenomenal, and I told her about it, and she was on board within seconds, and she was off and running and said, yeah, we're going to do this. And she's the one who came up with the name, Erace-ism, and the spelling of everything. And it was just a great collaboration, and we made this happen. We did everything in this film. We did the writing, the acting. Mary put the music together. She did the editing for the first time. She learned how to do it. So it's a female DIY.
There you go. Mary,
that.
how did it feel in terms of your engagement in this project? Why did you jump in to say yes right away?
Well, first of all, the subject matter, and secondly, it's Linda Kaye. I knew it was going to be a great exchange of energy, of collaboration, her ideas, my ideas, and just like hashing the whole social issues and how we can bring it to life. I'm not as eloquent as Linda with words, but visually that's where my strong point is. So that's where I brought it to the table with creating the images, the storyline. We worked on it and stuff, and just like fine tuning it to, we wanted something that wasn't like, it was a serious issue, but the way we were giving to people, it was easier pill to swallow because we were making fun of the whole thing too. And we were just like playing stereotypes and making it campy, and like, we wanted to appeal to as many people and make an impact by riding the line of not totally offending people right off the bat, because originally there were some images I wanted to use that were really harsh, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't. But as we're going through just like footage and stuff, I mean, there's a lot of horrific things, and I was like, God, do I want to put this note because it's going to offend a lot of people, like the hanging tree and things like that. Oh my God, that would have been, just over the line. And we have been over the line historically, everybody, Americans and people, but it's people will turn a blind eye and not even listen to your message if you don't kind of give it to them in a way that is digestible for them. So I feel like that our end product came out really well, and we were able to get the message that we wanted to across. And it was a great learning experience on a lot of levels, but it was wonderful because there's nothing I love more than being able to say something and do something and to make a difference. And we all have one life to live only. How do you want to live it? Do you want to be sorry that you didn't do whatever you could to make a difference? That you're not sorry that or happy of how you lived your life? Were you proud of it? So that's how I speak through my art. So
you guys did a good job. Excellent. And I think you were right. You did just enough to not take away from your message and what you were saying. And you're right. Sometimes people pay more attention to the background or the pictures. And I think you guys did an excellent job. And Linda, Beverly Hills, I see you. Beverly Hills.
I kicked down in there too, but no, before we go on French, we need it. It was so funny.
This is where Linda was. I got the message.
Yeah, and please watch it in the real lifetime because it was lagging. I don't know what it is about when you stream stuff through Zoom, it lags and you don't get the full wonderful effect.
Even WebEx, a lot of things when you stream it, it just kind of slows. Yeah, but yes. I've got it. The message was loud and clear. And what you were saying, we could pay more attention to what you were saying because there weren't those graphic pictures. So excellent choice. Excellent choice.
So this is
Yes,
my
I agree.
second time watching this, and I have lots of questions, but I don't want to take up the whole time. I'm really interested for those on the panel that saw this the first time. How did it land on you? What stood out for you in the video, or what did you have questions about?
I think what stood out for me is I think a lot of times what's good is that when people validate how you're feeling. And I think, and by Linda saying privilege and, showing her back, even the symbolism of the background and how she was dressed, just recognizing, we're not saying that, that that you should feel the same way that we do, but you should at least recognize that there's something wrong. And I like the message that I understand the position I have versus the position that you have. And it's wrong. There's something wrong with this picture. So let me explain it to you that I understand, that I see you. That's the message that I got. I understood.
Right.
I think what struck me most about the piece is the idea that you are, kind of sharing your place and how you feel about, the movement, as well as Mary. I really liked how you are basically sponsoring allyship here and saying, yes, I have privilege. You're owning yourself while being able to assess others and what they do and saying, I denounce that. That's not for me. However, I'm an ally here and I'm able to understand where I stand in this world. And then for Mary, with your visuals, I thought it was great. The idea of saying that I like the quote, I'm going to misquote you, sorry, where we do all your work and then you treat us like crap.
Loved that part.
Oh, that landed on me, definitely.
Felt it 100%, there's so many, and the images you use, like the Chinese Exclusion Act, those different things popped in my mind. And I'm like, yeah, being a Black person with the legacy of slavery, for my Latinx brothers and sisters, the idea of, a Bracero program where you make people come over here to do this work. And then once we're here, you say it's a better opportunity and all these different things, and then it's not. So where do we stand? Why are we here? What do you want us to do? And I thought that the entire piece was very powerful. And I'm glad that you all are able to get your voice out through art.
And I
Yes,
love,
that's perfect.
Mary, your face paint, the red, white, and blue face. That while you're showing images of, we're building your railroads, we're doing your dirty work, right? But we're supposed to embrace this country and let it be a part of us. That really spoke to me, definitely.
Yeah, because everyone that's here, all the immigrants, everyone, we're all basically Americans. We're the same color, red, white, and blue. But people don't see that. They treat you as like a leper. If you're Black or something, you're still an American. You should still have all the same rights and be treated the same way with respect. And, and it's just, like I said, visuals, sometimes that's how I try to get my message across.
That's a great way to get it across.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The first word popped out was privilege, because I'm not a critique or nothing like that, but that did pop out to me where, yeah, okay, they do, majority white people have privilege. Not white per se, white, but white skinned people. And then with Mary and all the women they're holding their hands up like this, and they're, I thought that was, pretty profound as far as, your country and group is concerned. But I did feel that it's just my own opinion that something was missing, because I couldn't identify with that because it wasn't really me. I understand race and erase the ism. That take the ism off of race, because it's still a race, and until this is just me getting into this and just growing up and seeing and hearing everybody else's opinion and you know, what they see as what they feel is wrong. And me just getting into history, knowing what I was taught in school was nothing like what I know now.
Exactly.
So just looking at it, you know, it's totally, my thinking is totally different. Like, what? You know, but I thought it was it was good, you know, for people that look like you. But for me, I didn't look at it as, oh, okay. I didn't look at it like that.
Right.
Stephen, I see you
Thank you,
nodding.
Chris. I'm sorry. Who was
I
that,
said,
Lori?
I see Stephen nodding. You want to jump in here?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Chris was saying. But I will say I like that Linda recognized that she do have privilege. I think most white people, they don't want to accept that they have privilege. They like to try to ignore that because it makes them feel like they are with the oppression, of white privilege. But it's true, like white people do need to recognize that. And then I do like what Mary said in her quote that Miko brought out. But overall, I loved it because that's art. And the way you guys responded, that shows that you guys were very passionate. And sometimes you can take your passion and use it the wrong way. But the fact that you guys made a video to try to express from your point of view how you feel, that was beautiful because I think we all need to put our energy into positive and teach through our art. And that was art. And I know personally with me, when I get angry with what goes on with racism, I write about it. I wrote a poem that was called Will I Die Today, and it was based around the Breonna Taylor and the George Floyd. So I'll give you guys much love and kudos for expressing yourselves
Yeah.
open and honestly, and I could tell you guys' heart was in the right place when you guys did that.
Loved
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Steve.
Love the props too, Mary. Your props, your hat, and your outfit was spot on. I was like, she looks so cute.
She did. You look very, very nice, Mary. Thank you guys so much. Lori G, is this an exciting show or what?
It is. It is definitely. I now it's my turn, right? I I talk all the time, so I apologize for that. But Linda and I talked previously about this concept, which I think, Linda, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're really trying to drive home is a discussion about privilege, right? And particularly white privilege. And I would like the panel to just spend a little bit of time talking about what that means to them when they hear this. And the reason I'm so very curious is that for years I taught a course on cultural diversity, and a segment, a unit in my class was about white privilege. And it would get so heated that I would have white students go to the dean's office. I was a faculty member, going to the dean's office, complaining about my class, even as radical as dropping out of the course because they did not want to have this conversation about white privilege. And I think Erace-ism talks about the haves and the have-nots, right?
Right.
Mary is representing a place that has not. And Linda's representing a place that truly has. So I'm really interested to know when you hear the word white privilege, what that means to you.
Is that for everybody, or are you speaking
It's
to
for everybody, whoever wants to jump in. I'd like a very dynamic discussion. I know what it means for me and what I hear, but I think how we begin to erase racism is we begin to have conversation and talk across races, right?
I just recently, at where I work, I was just recently put on the inclusion and diversity team. And one of our conversations was about privilege. And I led that conversation. And I did put out some questions out there that I wanted my team, there's 14 of us, that I wanted my team to answer. So I gave them time to think about it over the weekend. And we have our meetings on Mondays. And what was so upsetting to me is because no one was speaking, no one would say anything, I started calling on people. And I got a complaint that I didn't feel comfortable that she called on me. And I said, what a privileged thing to say, because I don't get to say, I don't want to talk because, and somebody called on me. I don't get to say that. Whenever I have to have a talk about privilege or feeling uncomfortable or being mistreated or being treated differently because of the color of my skin, I don't get to say, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't feel that you should have called on me. I don't get to say that. And so my boss, it was like an aha moment for my boss, because she said, you know what, you're absolutely right. I'm like, what a privileged thing to say. You're saying that when we decided as a group to get to know each other and somebody said, oh, let's tell two truths about ourselves and one thing that's not true. And then we all get to guess which one is the not truth. And that's how we get to know each other. I said, everybody volunteered for that. But the moment I bring up a couple of conversations about privilege and how you feel about it, and how do you think Dr. King would feel about what's happening today? What do you think he would like? And what do you think he wouldn't like? Do you think we've come a long way? And no one would speak up. So I said, okay, I gave you the questions. I gave you the pre-work last week. So I'm just going to start calling on people because everybody wants to be quiet. And when I did that, people actually got upset. I was like, I cannot believe that. And then when my boss brought it up to me, she said, you know, there were some people uncomfortable. And I said, what a privileged thing to say.
And I think I'm going to hint on what you're saying and piggyback off of that. The idea of uncomfortability is what the burgeoning of growth is. Anytime in life when you feel comfortable, that's kind of like a place where you want to start assessing, how can I change to do more? So the idea of being a white person is you are comfortable, you do have privilege. If I have everything I want in society and I have access to get it, I may not have it right now, but I can get it because I have the certain skin tone I need to get it. Why would I try to put myself in their shoes, why would I try to ruin that for myself? And that's kind of where they are. It's like, why would I have all this power, why am I going to give away my power to level the playing field? And that's the problem with, I think, capitalism, period. Because the way that capitalism works is race is a huge distractor that keeps us from the idea of money and wealth. And there is a lot of white people who do not have money in our society. However, the idea of race keeps them close to the concept of I'm better, I'm superior. And that's the way that keeps this country going. And in my collegiate experience, as well as being a teacher, I went through the program Teach for America, and I've met a lot of white privileged teachers who want to come into the classroom with brown and black kids and not want to check themselves out the door. That's what I call it. You're checking your privilege out the door. You come here and you say what I am. This is how I grew up. This is me. This is my experience. This is what I want to do. I'm informed now. So we would have DEI sessions, which means diversity, equity, and inclusion, to kind of dispel some of these things. And the amount of racist things that come out of people in those moments is why they like to stay silent. They feel uncomfortable because they know something in them at that moment is something that they don't want to share out because they're going to be labeled as a racist. And that's where it needs to come out. Let's talk about it. It has to come out first. You need to feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable every day, and here I am talking to you about it.
Exactly.
I don't want to sit with you talking about racism.
That was exactly my point.
I'm trying to help you out. In fact, I'm doing you a favor. So I'm always been that person. Like, I'm outspoken and I'm going to chat with you about it. I used to make people cry in those sessions, and I enjoy doing it because you need to grow, because I'm here and you need to come where I am at. And that's the only way we're going to have it. And I watched Judas and the Black Messiah last night, and Fred Hampton's like, power to the people. Without any revolution, it needs people. How do I destigmatize your way of living your life without talking to you? The first thing is the conversation. And it comes from all walks of life, thinking about a rainbow coalition sort of idea. How can I take what you think and what is normal to you every day that you grew up in your household? And how do I change your mind about what's not the case? How do I share my experience with you and you share your experiences with me? Right? If you live in a white neighborhood and you're surrounded by white people all of the time with certain conservative ideas, how are you going to be exposed to anything else? You don't want to feel uncomfortable because you don't want to let go of your privilege, because you don't want to let go of your power. And I think it's entangled with all of that. So it's kind of the idea, even in college, you meet people freshman year, and by the end of freshman year, their whole idea have changed as seniors because they've experienced new things. They wanted to have discussion class, wanted to expose themselves to new cultures, new ideas. Then you have those same people who, I went to USC and there's a place called The Row where all the affluent white people would be, or you want to stay on the row. And that's and that's what it comes down to. we are trying to express these ideas to you and talk about these things, but you don't want to. And that's why the idea of allyship comes along. Because when I come into the room, you don't want to talk to me about it. Okay, but if Linda Kaye, who's an ally, goes and talks to you about it, maybe some things will come out, maybe some conversations will happen. Because you feel comfortable around people who look like you just innately. That's just the way we are as people. So you don't feel comfortable talking about it with me. Shelly, they didn't want to talk to you about it with you because
No.
right?
I even said, you know, there's no judgment. This is an open floor. This is conversation that we need to have. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm going to say some things that you may not like.
Right.
And you may say some things that I may not like, but at least we're learning, we're growing from this stage. Because even in work groups, which really bothers me, there's cliques.
Mm-hmm.
Even in work groups, there's cliques. Oh, I'm going over to Mandy's this weekend, or oh, we're just gonna spend. I'm like, or we have a Zoom meeting, and both of you guys is in the same room and on a Zoom meeting. I'm like, what are you guys doing together? Isn't it COVID? And what's this clique? You know, like it's like cliques, and I'm like, I'm trying to break that. I have people on my team that are even from. I have someone who's from where Nipsey's from, Eritrea. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Eritrea.
Eritrea. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
She's completely silent. And I'm like, you have brown skin. I know that you have experienced something. Why aren't you speaking up? I have brown people, Hispanic, do not want to speak. And I'm like, what is it? Is it voodoo in the room? What's going on? Like nobody wants to talk. But when I force them to talk, or I call on them, then they instantly, I'm uncomfortable. Why would she call on me? Well, because you're not talking.
It stems from fear of judgment.
Yeah.
People are afraid to be judged, even if they have these feelings of, you know, greed, selfish, you know, entitlement, you know, all those givens, right, to that culture, whatever that is. People do not want to be judged.
Wow.
You know, Linda, I'm going to shake it up a little bit. Try to shake the Zoom room up a little bit. We don't have any questions in there. This is what I'm interested in. Why is the thought of discussing white privilege so scary
to some people,
to individuals of white descent? Why is just the discussion of that privilege so taboo or so uncomfortable for them?
Well, it was the same thing that Shelley said, and what Miko highlighted is that if you share who you really are and what you really believe in, then you have the possibility of losing it, and you lose that power and you lose that control. That's what Miko so eloquently said, you know. And so, you know, people don't want you to know how they really feel. Except for now, everybody is throwing up what they feel. And it's nasty and it's toxic and it's disgusting what people are saying. It's unbelievable. People in Congress, that Taylor Greene, somebody. She's a congresswoman. She ran a spa and had relationships with her manager, and there's a scandal about her, and she is elected to Congress. Right. What is up with that?
Well, no, how about this? You went to the Capitol, you were an insurrectionist, now you're in jail, and now you get to go to Mexico for your vacation?
What?
Or you get organic food because you can't eat any of the jail food?
What?
I haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, the guy with the horns. What's
the shaman?
Oh,
the shaman.
He wouldn't eat for 7 days, and he said he wanted organic food. Do you know they brought that food, some organic food? I'm sorry. I'm upset about that. I'm really upset because I know some people that have been in the penitentiary won't even eat chicken now because they had to have so much chicken in jail. And you talking about you need organic food after you just spread feces all over the place and shit? Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm upset, you guys.
But see, that
cannot
right
Shelley
there
say.
is the place of privilege, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, that is the privilege. And that's the part that intellectually, Miko brought up a very good thing that that I want to add on, is that it doesn't matter if you are Jojo Rockefeller and you've got billions of dollars, or you're Jojo homeless and you are out on the curb with a sign, right? You exist in a place of privilege. And I don't think we can move past that until we begin to say that white privilege, for me, doesn't equate to financial or socioeconomic status. It equates to how the world sees you, right?
Yes.
The mere fact that you would even, I mean, there was this great show I used to watch called Cops. Anybody else used to watch Cops?
No.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
Cops and Roaches.
On
You ever
I did
see
watch
how
Cops.
black people get arrested on Cops versus white people?
Well,
It was incredible because white people are F you. Why are you doing this to me? Give me your badge number. I'm gonna do this. F you, F you, F you. Black people, we just like this. Okay, don't shoot me. Okay, I'm not talking. I'm not saying anything. But just the mere fact that they question that officer that way is privilege, right, Stephen?
You know, I was getting ready to kind of mention that, you know, when I think of white privilege, I think of two Americas, you know. I think of Dylan Roof, you know, how he can go shoot up a church and go get he gets Burger King before he goes to jail, you know. But then I think of
Right.
Eric Garner and I think of George Floyd, they like, I can't breathe. You know, and they're executed on
Like
camera.
animals.
But Dylan Roof gets a burger and a fry, you know, and
Kyle Rittenhouse got water. Kyle, the little teenager that shot the people and walked right past the police with the long ass rifle, longer than his body.
Oh yeah,
they sat him down and gave him
hey,
water.
I killed two people. And they like, oh man, go back home. But
No,
I mean, they later convicted him.
If I
They
strap
later
a
did.
rifle on, if I do that, I'm not even going home. I'm not even going to jail. I am being executed. You know, and
Right.
it's very frustrating. You know, I was watching American Skin last weekend. He said, why are we
Great
the
movie.
only people
Yes.
that have to do everything peacefully? You know, and things are just handled different. You know, the Capitol situation. Black folks is not getting in the Capitol. No, it's not happening.
It would have been a bloodbath.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Because white people, they have the privilege to literally go into the Capitol, have destruction, almost try to assassinate two individuals that are in the Capitol itself, and then basically get a slap on the wrist, which the criminal offenses that they have carried out would have easily been, 15 to 20 years in prison, especially for, breaking into a federal building. And that's a part of white privilege. There's the other white privilege where I have to be on having my head on a swivel whenever I hear sirens, thinking, wait a minute, this might be my last day coming back home. There's the privilege of not having to distinguish between fireworks and gunshots.
Yes.
There's that privilege. Like, there's just so much just privilege that can be handed out on a regular basis, where if I was to go in a store in Beverly Hills looking the way that I look right now, they would probably perceive me as a threat. They would probably perceive me as a thief, as a burglar. Just like that one individual who was a burglar that happened in New York City, where the store owner actually, shot him, chased him down, and then unloaded his clip into the individual.
That is ridiculous.
Now,
Oh my
that was
God.
an excessive amount of force for a white store owner to put into a black man. Yes, the black man was the criminal in the situation, but there's a such thing as excessive force. But then he's not. Yeah, overkill. But he is not facing any criminal charges at all.
Right. And the reason for those things is I see whiteness as social currency. And the reason I say currency is because you're able to do certain things and get certain places based off of your whiteness. And the reason for that is it's just historical. We know that from the beginning of this country, starting from partis sequitur ventrum, which was a Virginian law when we first started in the 15th century, that really discussed the idea that if you're Black, and any Black woman who produces a Black person is considered inferior. The reason for this goes back to Bacon's Rebellion, the first rebellion with slaves, Native Americans, and white indentured servants. The idea of racial collectivism is a huge threat to the idea of this country, the idea of capitalism. From the very beginnings of it all. That's the reason why it is like this. Just today, with Trump being acquitted, you can do whatever you want if you are a white person. You can you have that sort of social currency. They're going to keep it that way because they want to keep certain people in power to be able to do certain things. It's literally hypocritical. It makes zero sense. And the only way that I feel like you can fight this is if you get those people who have that currency to talk to the others with that currency about saying, how can we change this? How does this work? This idea, like when we see another Black person down the street, we like, oh, what's up? Like, okay, I'm gonna take care of you. Work with somebody who's Black and all white. I'm gonna take care of you. You're my person, right? They have that same collectivism among themselves. Oh, okay. You did your insurrectionist, you jump into the Capitol. That's fine. I'm gonna take care of it. Yeah, I'm gonna get you the organic food. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna do this. Because that's how it is. That's it. That social currency is going to propagate among itself and it's going to grow, it's going to cultivate. Right. And for white people, it has cultivated into a very strong system that changes suit and it changes its face very quickly. To the point now where we're on a verge and they're going to flip it on us again, where it goes from slavery to sharecropping to Jim Crow to mass incarceration. It just switches every single time because they keep that same currency in line. They protect one another.
So the question is how Miko, how are we going to change and cancel, as we're using now, this cultural mindset? How are we going to move forward and change this thinking?
The way that we have to do that is the idea that America is no longer going to be majority white. And that is what's scaring, I think, these people now that have this huge alt-right conservative mindset. They're scared.
Yeah, they are, because
you keep hurting people over and over and over again. That uprising is very scary. And America's problem is they don't ever say sorry and do what the right thing is. Germany, for example, with the Holocaust, they said, whoa, we were wild. I'm sorry. Let's change. Let's really do something about this. Look at no issues ever since that occurrence.
But Miko, I think the problem is with that. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm very sorry. But the Holocaust was filmed, I once heard Snoop Dogg say that.
Well, yeah, that's obvious that it was filmed.
Slavery wasn't filmed, Yeah,
of course it's filmed for a reason. They are also white. Yes, they were Jews, and it was a different thing. They're seen as white. What I'm getting at is the idea that they said sorry for what they did. In America, they never will say sorry to us for anything. And the reason that is they won't accept any wrongdoing. And in America, to move on, like in a relationship or anything, when you fight with somebody and it get real hot and tension starts to just keep building on each other, when you sit down and have a discussion, I'm sorry I did that, I'm sorry you did this, how about this, we make a deal, but we're done. America never wants to acknowledge any of the bad things they have done to any race group. And in order to move forward, there has to be acknowledgement, there has to be healing and move forward. Like that quote from Malcolm X I just gave earlier. You can't just pull the knife out a little bit. I'm still in pain, still in here. You need to take it out and heal me, and then we can move forward and progress. But they don't want to do it because the knife.
And not only that, yes, I agree with you too. And not only that, it's been white privilege is since beginning of slavery, when white people start taking over, stealing, killing, doing us that kind of way. It's still been going on for over 400 some years, even till now. But for them to say I'm sorry is not even enough, because when they started, I didn't even know this, but when I started reading and finding out 3/5 of a person, they call Blacks 3/5 of a person. We're not even a person, and we're like on the bottom. And with Biden talking about in so many years, yes, they know that they are literally, not because of somebody doing something to them, that they are becoming, they're disappearing. They're trying to push their white counterparts, the white Hispanics. They're trying to push them into that place where, you know, okay, we have to work with them, but that's okay. But still, they don't want us to be in no type of power economically. That's why they won't talk about reparations. That's why they won't, you know, talk about nothing like that as far as, you know, well, you don't deserve that, or we're not going to talk about that. You don't need that, because saying sorry or putting Harriet on a $20 bill or writing Black Lives Matter in the street, those are symbols. Where are the tangible things, you know, that are due to us? So the white privilege is, like you said, no matter if you're homeless or got money or don't have nothing at all, because you are white, if you decide to clean yourself up, I bet you within a year you're gonna have something.
You know, I think another thing will help is white people got to build relations with us so that they can learn with us, you know, and learn from us and deal with us. Because, you know, one of my best friends, man, he a white dude, you know, and I love him, but he didn't really see it for his own eyes until he was with me one day, and we got pulled over, and he was driving, and that cop was more interested in me. You got your ID, and I'm like, why? I'm not operating the passenger. I'm the passenger, you know, and my buddy is just sitting there like, officer, here go my, you know, and he just saw that, to the point that the officer was like, can you step out the car? I'm like, for what? Like, you know, and he was just like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't have an idea, you know, and I respect them, because when stuff go on, you know, they see how it wears on me emotionally, and they ask me about it, and I let them feel me. And you know, and I don't know if it's genuine on their end, but I hope it is. Only God can judge the heart, but at least I can do is teach them. And they kids call me uncle. You know, they kids refer to me as Uncle Steve. And I just think that's very important, because you have to build relations with the people that you are different from to understand. And if we don't build those relations, it's not going to work.
But the thing
I
about
also
and I know
they have to witness it
with these people, and it goes nowhere. Like, we have those two guys of the Proud Boys who have Black women as wives. Your children are Black, yet you still hold these ideas. Slave masters raping Black women, having Black children. Clan members having Black, all these different things. You can build relationships with these folks. You can feel that you're their best friend and all this, but when it comes down to it, you don't really know what they're going to do. And I feel like what happens is, behind closed doors, they have their own situations. Just like behind closed doors as Black people, we have our own situation. What it really comes down to is all fear. It's fear-based. They're in fear of what will happen to them if they lose their power, because they know what they have done to other people.
And they know that they're capable.
Don't know how to handle it.
And they know that they're capable of losing power, because if you look at it, the only reason, again, in 2016 that Donald Trump won was because of the Electoral College. If you look at the popular vote, the Republicans would never win. They would never win, because the majority is beginning to be, I mean, there is even a picture on Geographic magazine. Pretty much everybody's going to be mixed in some type of way. There's not going to be any type of purity. And so I think there's a fear, and it's fear of losing that power. So just to lie, to cheat, to steal, to treat people like crap is the only way that you can keep your power. Then God bless you, because I know when you get ready to go, you ain't going to heaven.
Mary, I'm really interested, Mary, in your perspective. We've been kind of talking about a black-white dichotomy here, but I'm interested in your view.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to say, and you know, the first thing is the only hope we have of securing a better future for everyone, and like Linda said, we're changing the mindset, is educating and communication and using whatever we have within ourselves, social media, whatever, to educate people and to change the whole mindset of the way people think, because it blows me away. I mean, talking about privilege and all these things that are happening and stuff, the first time I realized that I had some measure of privilege was a friend of mine, Bill Smith, he's a Black guy, and we had worked on a job in Beverly Hills. And we left when it was done. And then he forgot something back there. And he's like, oh, God, I got to go back there. I was like, okay, so go get it. He goes, no, I can't drive into Beverly Hills by myself because I don't get stopped or arrested. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And that was, I remember that was like the first time I thought, what the hell? Like, does that even happen? That would never happen to me, you know? And it's weird because you take that for granted. But, you know, there's so many levels of wrong, and it comes down to, okay, so why is that cop even thinking like that? Why are they even trained like that? Why do they teach them that? I don't know. It's education. Somehow we need to retrain people to think that, you know, you can't just like judge by a book and think, oh, he's Black, he's going to be like trouble or something or whatever. I mean, it's
fear, Mary.
You know, there's so much wrong. And it all starts with like, we need to educate people. We need to like, you know, that's how we turn it around. That's whoever's like training these people. I have no idea. One of the clips I was looking at too, using in our videos was, I found this one footage of this cop. It was recorded who had pulled over this driver and was talking to him, and the driver, she was like really nervous and she goes, are you gonna arrest him? Are you gonna hurt me or whatever? Are you gonna shoot me? And the cop said, why would I do that? He says, you're white. Why you think like we shoot a white person or whatever? He goes, you have nothing to fear. You're not Black, so why are you worried? And I was like, what the fuck, you know? And it's just, it blows me away that like this is the norm. And why are they thinking like this? I mean, what, like,
it's Mary, it's fear. I'm going to tell you, because I had a relationship with a police officer, and I have some people. I was even married to someone who had police officers in their family. And one of the things, it's fear. When you are policing an area that you have not been a product of, you respond in fear. Even if you are trained, even if they train you to the T on how to react to people of different color, you are going to revert back to your fear. If you are in fear, you're going to revert back to pulling that gun, no matter how much training you've had, because you have this fear of that person. If you're a product of the place that you are policing, you have a better way of judging your people and surviving. I've seen it many times where somebody would say, like, for example, the gentleman that was shot at the Burger King by the police officer, where he took the taser gun. The thing went off twice. It no longer works, but you still shot him in the back. I've heard police officers who are from less privileged neighborhoods and who policed less privileged neighborhoods said, all I would have did was just tackle that fool. Why would they shoot him in the back? We would have got him in less than 2 seconds. But because of the fear, and he overpowered you, and he got the taser gun from you, you were scared to death. So the only thing that you knew to do was to pull your gun and shoot. So a lot of times the problem is the police officers that are policing these areas are not of that area. They're not of that. They're not a product of that. For example, a police officer that was raised in Compton should be a police officer in Compton. He should not be anywhere else. A police officer that's in San Dimas should be in San Dimas. A police officer that lives in Beverly Hills should stay in Beverly Hills. I mean, they need, even no matter how much training they have, and this is so sad, you revert back to that fear and what you know. And the only thing that you know is to pull the gun because you're scared.
Right. Our Zoom room is blowing up, guys. Our Zoom room, our Zoom room says it's all fear-based. That's from Miko. They are in fear of what will happen to them once their power is lost. Jasmine Rodriguez says we need to have educating and awareness with like 5 exclamation marks. And Jackie says we just had an officer, Clyde Kerr, off himself to bring awareness of police awareness of police brutality and needed reform. Jackie, you want to talk about that a little bit?
That was me who actually said that.
That was you who said that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it appeared JackieRay. And then we have Stevie Johnson, who says it's a shame we're having these conversations in 2021. But Rashid, you want to tell us about Clyde Kerr?
So Clyde Kerr, he was a actual police officer who, in his final words, because he was an actual sheriff, who actually wanted to actually bring awareness of of the actual white privilege when it comes to a police brutality. And he had plans for all these reforms, but he decided that in his line of work as a sheriff of this department, I believe in Iowa, he decided could that he could no longer live with the guilt of what is happening within his department. So he ended up offing himself to try to bring awareness of what is going on with the police brutality and the much needed police reform, and that one of his last wishes was that for officers to actually have a psychological evaluation at least 4 times a year, because it's mostly because officers on a regular basis, they face different types of scenarios, because like every day they could be on like maybe 5 or 6 cases, and these can be traumatic experiences, and you're still keeping these officers who just had these traumatic experiences on the field, on duty, to actually go and chase these cases where they can actually just have just a random episode of just PTSD,
right,
and just and just freak out and just forget the training that they had.
Yeah, you revert back to what you know.
Right.
Hey guys, we have a question in our Zoom room from Wendy. I'm going to see if she's able to ask her question. I'm going to allow her to talk. Wendy, can you join us? Wendy?
All right.
Wendy,
Wendy, are
Yeah,
you there?
hi. I didn't actually,
Hi,
if it's
Wendy.
the same Wendy, hi. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Wendy.
I didn't really have a question. I don't know how that came up, but.
Oh, I saw your hand was raised. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Maybe unconsciously I wanted to say something, right? I think so.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Wendy.
No,
We're happy
you're very
here.
welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Take care. Keep listening with us.
I'm here. I'm staying here.
Okay. All right. Linda, I have a quick question for you. Following up on Rashid talked about, I know in your other life, you were in social work, right? So what do you think about this idea of psychological testing for officers?
I think it's essential because everybody gets into a field for whatever reason motivates them to get into a field. And police officers, I think a lot of police officers, and then this is my own opinion, I'm not saying that I did any research on this topic, but my opinion is that they want to get in there and they want to hurt people and they want to kill people and they want to use a gun and they want to be able to have the permission to have that power and to be assaultive if they are allowed to. I mean, it's just what motivates a lot of people to do a certain profession, and how they rule that out is by taking those psychological tests. It's usually the MMPI, and they have these hidden questions that if you answer in a certain way, they can tell that you have some kind of propensity towards a certain type of behavior through the results of that test. And I think over time, people do change and people do have experiences, and maybe somebody gets into the profession of wanting to carry a gun and be macho and be fearful or have that power behind them, but then they get into the position and then they change because they start to see things differently, maybe. And so then that MMPI, that psychological test, will show differences maybe later on. But I mean, it's like pedophiles, they want to put themselves in positions where they're going to be near children. And so they take jobs as teachers, they take jobs as priests, you know, so they can be near children, you know, because that's why they do that. And would they admit that? Never in a million years. You know, take responsibility for that thought. And it's the same with police officers. You know, they're not going to tell you, you know, the reason why, you know, I want to be a police officer is because I want to have the permission, you know, to put people in handcuffs and take them down and be assaultive. So, I mean, that's a whole big discussion in and of itself.
It is, Linda. And another thing that I would like to add as far as police officers, there's a difference in the way that Black police officers are treated versus white police officers as well. There are some Black police officers that are afraid to even be like, I don't want you as my partner because I don't even think you would cover me. There are some Black police officers that are afraid to react to a situation because they know their punishment is going to be different than the white police officer. For example, when the Black police officer in New York, who is still in jail today for shooting a white woman in the dark, blind dark, he is still in jail today. And so not only are they afraid to uphold the law, but they're afraid that they're going to be treated differently and on how they react to certain situations. And that's the scary part too, because we want police officers on the police force to be just like we want in Congress, we want people to be of all races because but Black police officers fear that. And that's my other fear too, is that we're not going to have people on the force that look like us, women included, men, Asian, Hispanic, Black. But the fear is I'm not going to be treated the same as if I go over here and whip this man's ass because he beat his wife or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example that even on the force as a police officer, you're not treated the same. And there are some people you don't even trust. I've had police officers say, I'd rather ride alone than ride with a white counterpart because I don't even think he's going to have my back.
That's crazy. That's intense, Shelley.
That's sad. That's very sad.
There's a lot of white supremacists in the police department.
I agree with you with that. And it's another thing that I really didn't know as far as police is concerned. I've been reading Dr. Claude Anderson books, and he talks about racism and he talks about the police, and when I listen to Black media, they talk about these type of things, that the reason why they act like that is because they are coming from a place of policing started back in slavery. It's just stemming from there till now. No matter if there is Blacks that work in that department, it's still coming from a place of slavery. And when I heard that and read that, and I'm like what? You know, I had no clue. They had to police the slaves, and so it's just now. That's just how it is now. It's still stemming from slavery, and it's just a hot mess. So when they revert, like you said, they can't help it because it's embedded in their soul. It's who they are. I read something in school that when something happened through your ancestry, through your line, if something happened to you, to your ancestors back then, it's coming down the line. Because look at us now, how we are still dealing with oppression, dealing with being treated wrong. Like you said, talking about this in 2021, except now it's just being sought out. MAGA, Make America Great Again. When I heard that the only time America was great, the only time I heard about America was great was when it was slaves, because white people was making money, even Indians was making money. The stuff that I hear that was happening to us is unbelievable. So the stuff that's going on now, I look at it like I'm not even moved, because I know this decisions that I'm making and what I am doing as far as me trying to, learn, grow, know, and get. It's a whole other, this is a whole nother level. You have to be on a whole nother, like a war. You have to be on like a war, like this is war. not war in a physical sense that we fight against people, but a war that you have to know what's happening, what's going on, and stand for who you are, not include everybody else, because they want to attach everybody else to us as Black folk. They want to attach everybody else to us, like inclusion. Like you say, people need to know, need to have a knowledge conversation. They already know. What more can you tell them? They already know.
Yeah, they don't want to give it up.
It's like, you know.
Guys, Jasmine Rodriguez in our Zoom room typed us something, and you have to hear this. Jasmine says, I am a Hispanic woman. Last week, a white supremacist male with a swastika tattoo verbally attacked me as I was walking. I called the police and explained the situation to the officer. The officer said, oh, the man probably was having a bad day. No harm. I immediately responded, I am a healthcare worker, a woman of color. Anyone who has a tattoo with a swastika verbally attacks me because of my color is not having a bad day. I even told him on election 4 years ago, a male with a MAGA hat spit on my face and said, dirty Mexican. The officer did not respond and seemed like my safety wasn't a priority. At that moment, I knew I had to stand up and protect myself to my best ability. Thank you for sharing that, Jasmine. We appreciate it. Well, how does that land on the group? Wow.
All I can say is I'm so sorry, Jasmine. I am so sorry.
Yeah, we're so sorry to hear that, Jasmine. That's horrible.
This whole MAGA and Trump thing, it's giving people more courage to mistreat other people. Even somebody, you know, Mary, we haven't talked about this much, but there's been a lot of racism towards Asian people as well.
It really has.
There's a lady that's on CNN. She was just in the airport minding her own business, and someone approached her and said, why did you bring this disease here? She's like, what are you talking about? I've been here all my life. I was born here. Like, her parents may have been immigrants, but she was born here. So she was like, what are you talking about? Why are you approaching me? And she had mixed race children. So her thing was, I don't even know where this is coming from. Like, how could I bring this disease here? You don't even know what type of Asian I am. If I'm Chinese, if I'm Japanese or anything, you just attacked me because you saw that I was Asian.
Yeah,
that is horrible.
Yeah, that's based on the misinformation, honestly, because
Trump.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's the guy that's instigated all this crap, and he's like, you know, getting everyone to rise up to be violent and just, oh, it's horrible that the leader of our world, who was, thank God it's not anymore, but you know, he's instigating all this and he's feeding all this information to people, and it's so frustrating. When I first heard that, I was like, what? And yeah, Asian people being attacked and like people are throwing stuff at them or like yelling at them to go back home, and it's just like they don't know, you know, like I said, someone could be a citizen or born here or whatever, and it had nothing to do with it. But just for him to like throw out that information to begin with, to start the whole train derailing, it's just, it's like that whole thing at the Capitol all over again, you know? He's an irresponsible, stupid white.
Uh-oh. I think they hurt her in China. The Chinese hurt her.
Oh my God.
Oh no, Mary.
Oh my God.
We're focusing so much on Black and white people. I know that there's Asian Americans that have experienced some of these horrible things as well. I mean, and Jasmine, who's Hispanic, what is wrong with these people?
That's horrible.
Like, I don't.
But you know, guys, I think Linda brought up a good point, and I hope that the government allows Mary to come back. But Linda, you brought up a great point about what do we do? How do we turn that corner? And I was researching today at all of the, you know, buzzwords that are flying by now. Oh Lord, they blocked Mary altogether. She fell off. We'll see what happens. And one of the words that's going around, and I called Miko to ask her about it, and I thought it might be good to talk to the panel, is anti-racism. And I have to say that I did not quite know what that word meant. Right? So when you hear anti-racism, Linda, what do
Yeah.
you think of? What is that for you?
Yeah,
Mary's back. Yay.
Mary. I've heard the term.
Yay, Mary.
And my internet dropped, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute!" Or maybe you used to like what I'm saying, so that's why my internet cut out.
You're like, what the
Oh,
hell's
God.
going on? Where's Mary?
Oh my God, we got so scared for a
I
second.
know. We're like,
We're like, oh
So
no.
racism is like against racism. You're
Uh,
against racism is all that I could say. I mean, I haven't researched what it means, but if you're anti anything, you're against it.
You're against racism, anti-racism.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
fair.
that's what it sounds like. Anti
What does anybody? Go ahead.
anti anything, I mean, anti-racism, we really need to love each other. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible that this country has allowed itself to embarrass us in this behavior. And the rest of the world is looking to us like, what the hell has happened to this country? But racism has always been there. It's always been there. It's everywhere in the world, and it really is based on where you live, who your family is, how much land you own, the color of your skin, what royalty is in your blood. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And this is what people look at as good. You're good because you have money. You're good because you own this car. And people are seeking for that kind of superficial validation. And that's what it is. It's superficial love. And, I read this quote from Doris Lessing. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's a writer. She wrote The Grass is Singing. I don't know if anybody's heard of her, but she wrote this preface in American African American stories or African stories. She says, "And while the cruelties of the white man towards the Black man are among the heaviest counts in the indictment against humanity, color prejudice is not our original fault, but only one aspect of the atrophy of the imagination that prevents us from seeing ourselves in every creature that breathes under the sun." And that resonates with me so much, is that we are all one. We are just human beings living on the earth to the best of our ability, given whatever tools and cultural traditions and spirituality from our families that we have. And my perspective has always been, I have a lot, I've been gifted a lot, and I'm sharing it. And I'm sharing it with anybody who's going to cross my path. I'm going to give as much as I get. And that's always been where I come from. Even though, my grandmother slammed the door on my Black friend when I was a child who came to visit me. My grandmother, who was Jewish and taught herself everything, who rode the trains in Russia to Kiev to support her family. She was the matriarch of her family. She brought her family here to America to escape the Cossacks, the Russian Cossacks, from killing her and her family of Jews. She saved them. She was the matriarch. And I think I get a lot from her, but she still had that mindset that something's wrong with the Black person. No, a Black person can't come into the house. I said, "Grandma, what is your problem? That's my buddy. Come on in, dude." My grandma, but I've always stood up. I've always stood up for people. whatever race, whatever culture, whatever disability. I mean, you know, that's a whole nother ball of wax. People with disabilities. I mean, it's just been in the last, what, 30 years that we got access for people in wheelchairs to be able to go up sidewalks.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, there's been, you know, anti-disability, you know, mindset, you know, so access to goods and services needs to be for all.
I agree. I have a
agree.
question for the panel. Has anybody
Yes.
heard of Jane Elliott?
Jane Elliott, Shelley?
Yes, the blue-eyed experiment, the blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise.
Oh,
Oh,
dolls.
I know Miko has. Have you, Miko?
Yes, I have.
It's interesting. I think that everybody should look up Jane Elliott. Um, she has taught so many people, or so many, you know, classes on diversity, and she does an experiment where there's people with blue eyes and there's people with brown eyes, and the people with the blue eyes, she tries to
In the class.
help
Oh
them
yeah.
understand what it's like to be a person of color. And it's just interesting to hear her. And I think that you guys should really take the time to look up Jane Elliott, just to hear. It's just interesting to hear her side of it. She is white, but she really makes her students realize what it's like, or try to make them realize what it's like to be a person of color and to be treated differently because of the color of your skin. But she uses the color of eyes, and she uses an experiment of blue eyes and brown eyes. So if you guys could get a chance to look up Jane Elliott, I think she's interesting. So if you get a chance.
ladies,
Definitely.
I wanted to let us know that we also have some activity in our Facebook family here. We have Colonel Johnson who says it all boils down to lack of knowledge and individuals not wanting change, being afraid of the unknown. If we look back in the early 1950s when segregation began, not everyone was on board with the idea, but here we are today dealing with similar issues. He says, but there has been some progress. We must continue to keep the focus of family values, education, and economic development on a community level, our community neighborhoods. Then we can move forward as a global community. He says to continue what you guys are doing here on the show and bringing awareness to issues of social justice. And thanks everyone on the panel tonight. So thank you, Colonel Johnson, and thank you to the panel tonight, everyone.
Absolutely. This has been
I
an.
want to,
Go ahead.
I have one comment, because Linda has said something about the tools, like, you know, needing the tools. And I look at, that's one thing that Blacks weren't never given the tools because we weren't allowed, or since we were 3/5 of a human, oh, Blacks can't have no land. They were given so much land to the whites. Even the Blacks that had the land, like recently, the whites took their land was given back to them. And I look at, when you're not given a tool, you can't do nothing. You can't, if you don't know, you don't have a tool to do nothing. So we weren't never given anything. Of course, now today we work, or we work from paycheck to paycheck, and we do what we can to get what we can. But as a whole, as Black people, if we don't have that, there's only so many things that where you can be put on top, and that's like the fear. That's what they're scared of. Like, if we get land, if we get you know, that type of power, if we invest and start to, you know, bring not just our own selves but others like us up, that's what the fear is. But the tools, if they never had those tools in our ancestral line coming up, when we were supposed to have that and weren't never given that, then that's not going to happen. talking about it. We could talk about it all day long because I see if we was talking about it with Martin Luther King, even he realized, you know what, he might have led his people into a burning building because he knew that integrating us and getting us together was not going to solve nothing. So when I read that and I look at that, I'm like, you know what? We can talk about it all day long. We can kumbaya, we can love, we can do all of that until not, they don't even have to say, I'm sorry. You know what you can say, you know what you can do? You can say, okay, we're going to start talking about how Blacks can become, and I don't mean, I ain't talking about all Blacks, I'm talking about Native Blacks, the ones that got brought over here. Those, that's who I'm speaking about. Because some Blacks, they came over here on their own accord because they had some type of privilege. Not all Blacks were dealt with slavery in that type of way.
That is a great
that's
point.
what
No, what you're saying, that's a great point, Chris. I appreciate that. We have had some amazing discussions here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Poetry of Justice show. My gosh, we've had Miss Linda Kaye. As always, you just burned down the house. My goodness, with commentary and so forth. Lori G, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at that time on that clock, but it's
I
some
did.
tea
I was going to try to transition us to, it's been some heavy conversation,
I
guys, and
know.
I really appreciate everyone being so candid and so open and weighing in, and Mary joining us all the way from China. That's
Can you
beautiful.
believe
We
that? That's
appreciate it.
awesome.
But I also want our listeners to know that this beautiful filmmaker that we have is also a poet, and that she has a body of work and that she's very engaged there. So Linda, why don't you tell us about your books and about your poet's place that you've established?
Thank you. Before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to all the listeners on Yikes Radio. I have a lot of friends who just wanted to tune into the radio. So, hey guys, thank you for tuning in. If you're out there, I don't know, I think there's a chat room on there too. So I don't know how that's monitored, but you know, I don't know if anybody's chatting up on Yikes. Again, thank you guys for having me so much. I love what you guys have been doing. I've been listening to you guys for a while. I tune in every so often. Sometimes it's too heavy duty for me and I tune in.
It's too yikes, huh?
Oh man, it's like sometimes, okay, we're talking about a lot of abuse now. Okay. But you know, we've got to share what's going on. We've got to talk. We've got to talk about it. And, you know, and that kind of drove me to start up my column called Poet's Place. It's in the online publication of the LA Art News. And it's an art publication, and I have a column called Poet's Place. And it's open to anybody who want to submit. Everybody is welcome. Send me your poetry, and I'm gonna post it online. Mary posts incredible pieces every month, and if you want to submit every month, you're welcome to. And just send them to me to lindakpoetry@icloud.com, and I will post your piece of poetry.
I will put that in the chat for everyone. Tell us about your book, Linda.
Yeah, your most recent piece of work here.
Well, I have a lot of work, a great body of work. I started writing poetry in, I think, maybe 2012, 2013. I've been hosting poetry events. This is where I met the beautiful JackieRay. She came to one of my poetry events and read a piece, and we bonded right away. And I have one book here called Sexy Stuff that I know Jackie said she wanted me to read from that book. We'll see what our time frame is. But I've got several books out. I've the first book that I ever wrote is called Teetering on the Edge of the Emotional Cliff. Very depressing poetry in that book. I wrote these pieces while my father was dying, and that was a way for me to deal with my grief and my loss. And I wrote a book I think it's a couple of years ago now, called What's Your Hubbub?
I love that one too. I got that written down. What's your hubbub?
So, you know, I take all the photography in any of the books, and I write poetry, and I love it. And I made a short documentary. I took people who were poets, and I think if Mona's still here, Mona Jean came, and she was part of this trek when that guy became president. I was so horrified that I had to get out of town, and I took this trip to Jacumba, which is at the border of Tecate, Mexico. And as I was driving down there, I see this wall. And that guy was talking about building a wall, and there was already a wall. And it blew me away, and found out that actually Bill Clinton built that wall, you know, between Mexico and California. And I think it was 2003. He already built that wall. And so I'm seeing this wall, and this guy just became president. And I was so upset that I thought, let me do a show. Let me do a show about our angst about what has just occurred in this administration. And then as I, you know, was thinking about that and putting that show together, I said, you know, this has got to be a film. I've got to document that. So I've got this film called Border Poets. It's on YouTube. Watch my 20-minute documentary.
All right, Border Poets on YouTube. I will put that in the chat as well.
Thank you.
So, Linda, you know, we are approaching Valentine's Day, and it would be great if you read us a couple of pieces out of Sexy Stuff.
Oh, okay. Now, I know, Jackie, you had one piece you wanted me to read, you said.
I know, I'm just being such. I love my favorite. Okay. The art of seduction. But Linda, we have to do high and feisty. Can we please? Lori, you know this one, Lori. This is from the reading we did.
Faves.
I know it is. That's what I was thinking. Look at
All
me.
right. 22. All right.
Yes.
A few minutes left. Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
Yes.
Seductive and haughty, out for the night feeling lusty, sporting glittered black fishnet loose covered stockings, shimmering statement with hotsy-totsy legs, stepping with high heel sexiness, strutting her sexy stuff, looking to get laid, getting high and feisty. A smoking arrow shot from a blunt strikes the leering sex interest and awakens the dude sloshing gin 20, grifting and waiting, getting high and feisty. Outside on the Sunset Strip, the Machiavellian type harlot babe, reeking of danger signs, covered with sheer lace. She twinkles a winking eye, suggesting entrance to the bar, begging to get high and feisty. An older tart turns to look and stare wishfully, yet longingly at the man with the full beard and the fur coat. He sways gently to the rhythm of the hot, humid air that is accumulating, steaming in the room filled with raging hormones, because everybody's getting high and feisty. The energy begins to boil as the dance of romance begins its journey, sashaying down the path towards lustful unknowns. The hungry and powerful draw is contagious, unfiltered. that compels with its juicy, seductive smells and delicious offerings, unleashing enormous wild thoughts, unlocking chastity's gate, getting super high and ridiculously feisty.
I love her. I love you, Linda Kaye. Thank you. Hey, Stephen, I see you over there blushing a little bit, Stephen. What are you thinking down here in Tulsa? What's going on? Let's talk to me.
Like I said, I like art, so that's her expression. That's what she feels. It was funny because when she said something about a beard, I thought
I saw your face. I saw your face. I love that, Linda Kaye. What are you thinking, Lori? I love that one. Oh my God.
I love that one. I'm thinking maybe we got time for one more.
You up for it, Linda?
Poetry?
Yes.
Yes.
Mary, did you want to get prepared for your handles? You know, we can let everybody know as we get ready to outro the show for your work and how individuals can.
They can find me on Instagram, Not Just the Ordinary.
Okay.
Not just the
And
ordinary.
Not Just the Ordinary. Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And then there you'll find my artist website as well.
Okay. Perfect.
And same thing with Facebook. It will be Mary Chung Artist.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. Linda Kaye.
Okay, so I thought maybe I'll read something that I just wrote not too long ago. How about that?
Perfect. That'd be perfect.
What's left unfinished? Have you completed or started your bucket list? Or are you just thinking about what you don't have? Did you finish that novel, that poem, or that letter to your family asking for forgiveness, sharing those crusty harbored feelings of abandonment, hurt, anger, or love? Or are you just pining and procrastinating about them? Have you started that course you wanted to take forever, that you wanted to learn how to bake that bread or make that ceramic bowl or plant that garden or travel to that mystical foreign land that you've spent copious hours researching the internet about? Or write that love, hate, angry, disappointed and all that song? What's left unfinished? Have you planned that perfect death that will spell out all your desires at the end? Creating a to-do list for your final countdown, which includes having your nails polished a certain color or clipping your beard, tweezing those ugly nose and chin hairs, and specifying someone to put lipstick and makeup on that suits the lifestyle of that individual. Have you thought of what you'd want to wear at your funeral? Hawaiian shorts and a tee? The black sequin gown you never got to wear again? A rabbit costume? It's in your court to decide. Have you written that will? Or created that living trust about stipulating and assigning someone to deal with all your leftover stuff you never had the chance to go through, and someone to cancel all your social media accounts? Well, unless you want everybody to wish you happy birthday on Facebook for the rest of your life, or their lives. LOL. What do you want your friends and family to say when you die? Rest in peace? He, she, it, them, they was a good soul, an unselfish humanitarian who went out of their way to acknowledge all those who crossed their path with encouragement, acceptance, and unconditional love? Or were they an entitled thief of love and friendships who never reciprocated an ounce of affection, was a lonely, isolated, and fear-mongering soul and neurotic, narcissistic bitch? The eulogy left to others' devices, well, anything could be said about the deceased. It's personal and it's subjective. Why not create the perfect memorial service ahead of time? Give out personalized leaflets and scripts with detailed instructions to recite. Would that fly? I don't know. Well, you could ask for donations at the funeral so the deceased family wouldn't have to pay the bill entirely for the reception, or have a GoFundMe funeral fundraiser, which is now the acceptable course of business these days. And you can do that while you're still alive to see who donated. So tacky. What's left unfinished? This poem. Well, I guess I ran us out of time. Thank you.
That is great.
Thank you so much, Linda. I love that. Linda, you gave Facebook. We've got Chucky Jones. He wanted to say that he likes that piece. He said it's very deep and he liked that a lot. He says more. So you've got to complete that. Thank you, Chucky. Lori G, we have had a phenomenal show tonight. How do you feel about it, sissy?
This has been incredible.
I know.
Our Zoom room enjoyed it. Thank you to all of the panel members. The Zoom room says they appreciate the conversation about race and privilege, and most importantly, your candidness. We also have Stephen, who's put himself out there. He says he's going to drop some poetry for us the next time we're on air. So,
oh my God.
I think the ladies of the chat, we're up next week, Stephen. So we would love to have you display some of your work during our session together.
And Lori, you've got it. Did you want to tell the crew what we're going to be having coming up? It's particularly now that we've got Mary on the line, Lori. What do you have planning for May? You can go ahead and
Yes, I would like to take this moment to invite all of you poets to join us in May. We are having a POJ Poetry Slam. So I invite you to be a part of our group. We're going to get together. Rashid's going to give you a little background flow, and you are going to be able to spit your work right here. It's going to be a great night. So I'm going to be knocking on all of your doors. It's going to be the last Saturday in May. Last Saturday in May will be the POJ Poetry Slam. Can I count you in, Linda and Mary?
I have to market. I hope I will be back in USA by then.
I know, Mary.
Last Saturday.
As long as there's
Okay.
whiskey, I'm there.
All right, Linda. All right. So, Mary,
love it.
yours might have to be censored, but we'll work with it. We're going to work with China on that.
Okay. April, May, last Saturday. Okay, got it.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Thank you
Chris,
so
no
much,
hiding,
everybody.
because I know you've got lyrics, Chris. So I put you on the agenda. You're going to be there on May 29th, that last Saturday.
And thank you so much
spit
to
your
Shelly
piece out.
C.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
Shelly.
Shelley.
And
Thank
Miss
you, Mika.
Miko Phillips, thank you so much for your time tonight. And always, Chris Fisher, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. And Tulsa's in the house. Thank
Hi,
you so much,
Chris.
Stephen. We bless you and thank you. And always to my adoring friend, this lady here, no matter what's going on, we'll call her up and she's right there. And I just, Linda Kaye, you're a breath of fresh air. So I love you. I adore you. There's so many. Shelly C, is Linda Kaye the business or what?
She is the business. And she's the best party too.
Don't sleep on Linda Kaye's parties. That's all I'm gonna say. Love you, Mary.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Dykes land and Facebook land and Zoom land. I love you guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Good night, guys.
Night, everyone. Good morning.
Morning, Mary.
Good morning. Okay.
Bless you. Had a good one.